Welcome! We planned that specifically and delicately because
Kind
we're
of.
awesome.
Sort of.
Welcome to the patch note stream for CB17. My name is Hi-Rez Drybear, and joining me today is Hi-Rez Martini, one of the game designers on Paladins.
Nice
And
to
we're
meet you
here
guys.
to bring you the patch notes. Patch notes today are really more about getting you guys a bigger champion pool. So we have a couple things we have to go through, but I think the first thing on everyone's mind is going to be the next champion. So who is it?
Who is it?
You tell me.
I think. Oh, it's the sniper.
The sniper girl.
What's her? Kinessa. Kinessa is
Nutella,
our
that's right.
next. Yeah, our next champion, long range damage dealer. Something we've been lacking, and just gonna be a very good fit for our current game.
She's pretty cool. So obviously there's been a lot of leaks about her. There's been some speculations, and then of course you guys had the ability reveal yesterday, and then some teasers earlier this week. So let's go ahead and hop into game in just a minute, making sure that we're able to load this in. So there it goes. So we're gonna hop into match here and then be able to pick up Kinessa. So tell us a little bit about her.
Well, her character idea is that she is a bounty hunter. It's very core in all of her lines and her kit even. It's all about kind of locking down enemies and managing your deployables and taking them out from long range.
Let's go ahead and lock in here. So I've got her deck locked in here, and of course she's got some skins in here. You can see some pretty cool ones. So she will be releasing with some weapon skins of her own.
Mixed berry's the best.
The mixed berry, the one on the right there. And then this cobalt, I actually like the cobalt. And so those will be available to craft as well. And we have a couple things to talk about crafting just after this. But the general idea for her is obviously main weapon is the sniper rifle, so she'll be playing from far away. She's actually probably our least mobile character of the whole roster. I mean, she doesn't.
Yes.
I mean, she has
Yes.
option for mobility, but it requires a lot of forethought and planning. It's not something you can kind of use at any point in time. So
It's not given to her freely.
that's right. So that's kind of a bit there. So let's go ahead and run through the ability. So talk a little bit about the weapon.
All right. Well, it is a combination weapon. As our game, we don't have weapon swapping, so we've kind of built a 2-in-1. The base mode is a carbine. Not the longest range, has a quick rate of fire, and isn't quite as high damage as a lot of the other characters' main weapons, as this is not your primary method of damage dealing. It's more of a, I'm in a tight spot, or I need to finish someone off because they've kind of flanked me and I'm out of position. Her second mode of fire is the sniper mode, which is actually the ability right down the icon right there on your right click. Very traditional scope. It has this build-up power meter that animates. Very cool. The damage increases the longer you are in the scope. Yes, thank you for.
You're welcome.
Okay. But the damage increases the longer you're in scope mode and hits a maximum charge. That's when you deal the hardest hit currently. And let's see here, what's your legendary? Okay, so you're actually rocking the generator legendary right now, which does not increase your max damage, but modifies the rate at which you build up that max charge. So there's definitely some playstyle variance in her legendaries. It's it is easily our most complex weapon so far, and it's going to take some getting used to. But as far as like her compared to our other champions, she's definitely kind of a playstyle variant. You can't just run in guns blazing. You really need to make sure you don't fall into the trap of like tunnel visioning in that scope. Our game is very fast-paced, and when a high HP character gets on your flank and punishes you, like if this Fernando came up beside you because you were just trying to track enemies down range, you're going to get punished for it very hardcore. Same with Buck, same with Grover, which kind of brings me into the next abilities on her kit. Her Q, you can, at base, store 2 charges of what we call an oppressor mine. There are these deployables that you can toss out right here that draw a beam to any nearby enemies and apply a slow. This is a 30% slow base, and it does stack with multiple oppressor mines. It can serve as a detection, so you can put it on your flank down a hallway, or even if you are like pursuing someone, you can preemptively toss one down and slow them and then secure a kill. But it's really about kind of like establishing your sniper roost and taking enemies out. But you are not going to be able to run and gun with the rest of your crew.
So let's go ahead and just quickly kind of explain how the scope HUD works. One thing you guys will note right away is that there is an ammo count next to me. This is just for the Scout Carbine that is in the retracted state. And so the shots are kind of going through there. When you zoom in for the scope, you'll see on the sides of the screen the yellow chevrons. Those are dictating you how much charge you currently have, and the more that charges up, the more damage the next shot will deal. So if I fire right away, it does very little damage. But the longer I wait, it charges up, goes to full charge, and I can deal quite a large amount of damage. I mean, 1100 is a big chunk for someone to deal. And then, of course, you know, we don't want you to fire 20 shots inside the scope. And so when you're in the actual scoped up state, you'll notice in the bottom right corner of that actual full reticle is 5 bullets that each have 4 partitions inside of them. And that's just to let you know that when you fire a shot, you see how a whole bullet went away, and that contained 4 shots. And now I have 4 shots missing from my Scout Carbine. It's a shared resource, but as you shoot, you'll actually consume 4 shots per fire. That tells you really how much ammo you have. So I've got 1, 2, and then I go back, you'll see how this first bullet here has 2 missing inside of it. But if I fire, it'll fire the whole thing and then go to the next one. That just kind of keeps track of the ammo. So it's really easy to see that when you hold down, the chevrons come in, you'll see a little ding in the center of your crosshair letting you know that you are at full charge shot, let you know your next shot will deal a lot of damage. With the oppressor mines, you do some cool things. You can stick them up on walls, and of course, there'll be a lot of cards with them that allow you to kind of slow people down, keep them in some good spots. And it is charge-based. It's the first charge-based ability in the game without a card, which means you can throw those out, and as they kind of build up, you'll get more and more of them. So how does the escape work?
All right. So it is probably, actually, it is so far our most complex escape. But on the sniper character, it's definitely needed, as it's a lot about pre-planning, setting up, and optimizing your playstyle. So it is called a transporter, and the way it works is you deploy this device right here, which is the transporter, and it just hovers in world. It goes out about 80 feet in front of you, and it is a smart deployable, meaning that you can throw it in the air, and it will zero itself vertically to about 8 feet above the ground, and it does this, but because of this, you can ascend in ways that you may not have been able to walk up. So it's got some unique learning curves around how it's deployed and how it's used. Now, what you just saw there was he teleported to it. This currently is no time limit and no distance limitation. So you can teleport from across the map. There again, that introduces the opportunity cost of I am now extremely far away from the fight. But you are extremely safe on the other hand. And when you activate it, it starts a channel that does route you. So if you are against a high DPS target that's flanked you, it's not going to be necessarily your best opportunity of escape. You might get lit up and destroyed before you complete that channel. Through cards, you can modify how it works, but it's a lot of fun. One interesting thing to note, though, is repositioning the teleporter. While you have a transporter deployed, you can redeploy it, and it will destroy it at its previous location. So you can kind of adjust where you're fighting and making sure you always have an escape available.
It's really helpful, and obviously a lot of times we get caught up, and kind of the way that Kinessa was built really allows us to actually punish her for getting flanked, and so she gets caught out. A lot of times she will end up dying. So characters like Buck and Grover, who are good at kind of getting behind someone and getting close, she doesn't really have any answers for unless she has a really well planned out beacon and teleporter. And so what you want to do is kind of use these pressure mines, just kind of scatter them about, put them in good spots that are kind of like block entrances or prevent people from coming to get you, and put a teleporter as far away as you can and kind of just set up to a post and start sniping, and then hope that you have enough time to use this when you get into trouble and teleport back over. But her ultimate here is kind of one that, you know, when you first explain it, is pretty straightforward, but actually has a lot of power to it.
Yeah, it's quite the effective killing tool. So her ultimate is called Headhunter. It is the big glowing ability on the ability bar there. When you activate it, it starts a duration bar. During this duration, shots made to the upper area on a target your enemies in this case, will deal 100% extra damage. Um, this is a very powerful tool, and 5 seconds isn't the longest time, even considering the fact that you need to charge up your shots for maximum damage. The most effective strategy is to currently charge, then activate and fire very shortly after to get the most benefit and bang for your buck. And you can get, and right now, we're not even playing with the damage legendary equipped. We're playing with the charge rate legendary equipped, so you can hit some scary numbers during the duration of your ult. Now that ult VO obviously is globally broadcast to the enemy team. So if there's a Kinessa on the opposing team and you hear that try and run, you need to make sure you're not in line of sight of her or take her out quickly if you're given the opportunity.
You might want to try and run.
You should definitely try and run.
Yeah, you can see that the most effective strategy, as Garrett mentioned, is you just hold this in, and the second when you're ready for a full shot, pop the ultimate, and then start sniping. You can see that when she fires, there's a different trail that kind of comes up when she's in her ultimate. Lets people know that those shots are different. The ult is over, it's back to blue. So you kind of having that little helix around it lets you know that it's a different fire, and you actually take more damage. Now, it does work for the basic Scout Carbine, so if I do this, I'll get crits out of that as well. Which can be effective for finishing someone off, but obviously you want to get those big numbers on the ultimate itself. So when you get to someone and you have a lot of damage out, or this is a Fernando with some tank cards listed out, a lot of health, a lot of tankiness.
Yeah, it won't be as
but if you look at someone like an Eevee, if you hit for 1,800, 2,000 in a single shot, you really can take someone out really quickly and in almost one shot. Certain characters if they get into the wrong spot, but it does require you to hit them in the head or above the shoulders. So that way, if like I shoot him down at the feet, that isn't really any extra damage for me. So you really want to kind of hit him in that top half towards the head. Skill shot based. But she's a different addition, which will help fill out her roster. She has that long range aspect. So certain maps she'll be better at than others, and she's a very map dependent character, and that's kind of the fun of her. Is you get to really choose your environment as well as you can. Obviously, maps like Outposts with tight corners, you'll have to kind of figure out how to use her in different ways other than just getting a long corridor and shooting at someone. But you got some beams on the ground. We can slow them down here. And obviously, we have a lot of cards for her coming out. We have 14, 15, something around there?
Yeah, she's actually
13.
on par with a lot of our active characters in terms of card inventory.
And so there's some things you can do here, like I have Octopressor, which gives it so my mines can target more than one enemy, up to a lot, so you can kind of get these crazy beams going out. When I hit an enemy with my Presser Mine, I can reveal them for a short period of time. When I can scope in and scope out faster, I can move faster when I'm scoped, and I can charge faster. So there's a lot of different things you can do to augment her playstyle and really kind of build your own.
How many upgrades do you have available right now? Show the difference between the scope and times might be kind of cool.
I have nope. That's all I had. Oh, there we go. I got moved. Speed. We're screwed.
We're screwed.
We're screwed.
Never mind, guys.
But that is Kinessa. So if you guys have any kind of thoughts, feel free to head over to the forums or to the Reddit and let us know what you think. But let's quickly go over some of the other changes that are in the patch this time. And we're hoping to have this patch out later this week. This is slotted for this week. And then obviously we'll be moving on with our weekly schedule. The first thing we should talk about, which is not really as exciting, but should come as kind of a simplification for some users. We're actually going to take the crafting points and we're going to combine that with gold. And so in Paladins, there will only be two currencies, crystals and gold. When you win matches, you'll get gold. When you get duplicate cards, you'll get gold. Everything gets converted to gold. And this means, of course, as always, we always honor our players. All crafting points will be converted into gold. Any chests you have of champion chests or anything left over, that'll be converted, and then we'll be making sure the founders pack gives you gold and certain radiant chest purchases give you gold. Now that does come along with kind of unification of the crafting system and the currency system. We're going to get rid of champions chests and just give you gold instead. That way it's a more consistent win. You get double the amount of gold when you win a match rather than just getting a card, which may be a common or uncommon, may not give you the amount you want. So this is actually more of a benefit on average to players that are playing. So double the amount of gold per win is actually pretty powerful. And then obviously we will be allowing the gold to be used in the crafting areas, and then it'll have a conversion rate of about 10x. So you'll see your gold number kind of spike in this patch for most players. One thing to mention as well is we are removing the gold cost on Radiant chests. And so you can't buy chests with gold anymore. And that's mainly because it'd be kind of weird to buy a Radiant chest with gold and then get gold for it, rather than just using that gold to craft instead. And so it'll still remain the same price for crystals. When you buy a Radiant chest, you get 1,000 gold for every chest that you buy, and that kind of stays the same. So if you want to get some pretty easy options for that, then you'll just buy a Radiant chest, get a bunch of gold, get some cards, potentially other options as well. So that's a big thing that's coming in this patch. One thing to mention as well about the gameplay, we are actually experimenting with removing the strafing and backpedaling penalty when you're off your mount. Mounted will still have that penalty, but when you're off your mount, you'll be able to move left to right and back and forward all at the same speed.
Yep.
This affects actually a couple ways you fire and track people, and so we're making some adjustments to the way the game is played to make sure that fits a little better. But that means that when Grover's coming at you, you can backpedal a little bit better, and obviously you can move around. It gives you that freedom of movement. And we'll be evaluating this as we go forward into future patches. So that's a big pickup there.
Some quicker gameplay for sure.
Oh, yeah. So we're also going to be making some adjustments to some of the champions. Pretty easy one. We made it so you can use emitter while firing Hexafire. Previously, you could actually
Easy quality of life, yeah.
you could pop it when you're not shooting.
That was just weird though.
But it was weird because
Yeah.
you wanted to shoot the entire time, and so this allow you to kind of use the emitter while you're firing Hexafire. We've made a couple adjustments to Grover, who was actually pretty difficult to get away from in CB16. So what we're going to be doing is removing the travel speed when Grover vines, and so he will fly across the screen a little bit slower. And we're also going to be reducing the range of that slightly, and so he will still have the same mobility, they still have the same cards that modify it, but it means that he won't get to you as fast, and also means that he'll have to kind of plan out that vine a little better. We're also evaluating potentially allowing you to not go on cooldown when you miss a vine, so a little more forgiving on that.
Yeah.
We're going to be reducing the increasing the range of Fernando's charge, reducing the damage of Eevee's ice staff a little bit. We're going to be reducing the damage of Buck's shrapnel cannon. He's very tanky. We like him being tanky, but we're going to be bringing down the damage on that, make sure he's not tanky and damaging. We brought down the dome shield health for Barrack's ultimate quite a bit, from 20,000 to 12,000. This brings it to the range of actually killable and not just
Impossible.
ignorable,
Yeah.
and you just have to ignore it the entire time. We're also going to be reducing the rate at which champions charge their ultimate by 25%. And this is just to kind of fit in with the fact that we added the natural charge rate in the last patch, and that allowed some champions to get their ultimate pretty quickly. And so this reduction will actually make it so from damage you deal, it'll charge up a little bit slower, and ultimates will kind of come more naturally and feel more awesome when you finally
More
get them.
impactful. Yeah.
That's right. As far as new cards, we're going to be adding 2 new neutral cards to the game. One that will increase the range at which you see nearby stealth targets by 50%. And so when you have this carbon card, that means that, when Sky gets next to you, for those of you who don't know this, you actually will see her. So it's kind of like a soft reveal when she gets next to you. So anytime she's close, you'll be able to see her. This card just increases that range. You can see her from further away when she gets close to you. So kind of that anti-stealth counter mechanic. The next one, which is actually a really powerful card, I've been using a lot in Internal, is going to be you respawn 50% faster. So this is a really powerful common card. I put it in a lot of my decks now, which means that you get into the fight faster, you can get back in the match faster. But the whole general idea for this is that you always have a hard choice to make, right? A lot of the common cards are very powerful.
They're very powerful.
You have 22, 23 to choose from. We're going to continue to add more as future patches come along. And we hope to make sure that the 5 you choose has a really big opportunity cost, that you're giving up other things in order to get them, and it feels really good to have those. We are going to be adding new cards for Sky, 4 new cards actually for Sky, and this is really just kind of to fill her out. And then obviously you can see the Sky actually has a lot of cards now and a lot of options, different gameplay styles and all of that.
She's fun.
So we're going to be doing that with all current champions to make sure that they have enough cards, and we'll be doing that in future patches. But the 4 cards we added for Sky, the first one is called Contagion.
Yep.
This one increases the duration of all damage over time effects of yours by a certain percentage. The max percentage right now is 25%. It's 10, 15, 20, 25%. So that means it affects your poison bolts, it affects your time bomb, it should affect surprise attack or backstab or anything that really has a poison effect, because she is our dot character, one of our 2 currently. And so she will be able to increase that. This is a legendary card. The next one is called Corrode. This is an epic card. and this will increase the maximum number of stacks that poison bolts can have by 1, 2, 3, or 4. So potentially you could have up to 8 stacks of poison bolts
That's a
on
lot of
one
poison.
person, which is a lot of damage. The next one is called Mutagen. This is another rare card. This card will consume all active damage or time effects on your target when you hit them with Smokescreen. And so what you can do is you can stack up a whole bunch of poisons on them, including the ultimate, pop the smoke bomb on them, and immediately detonates those damage over time effects, removing them and then dealing the remaining damage instantly. This doesn't do full damage right away. It does 25, 50, 75, 100% of the damage remaining on those dots, but it's a way for her to kind of assassinate and finish someone off if she gets that position. And the last card that we're going to be adding, this actually was an older card that we had. We wanted to get it back in there. It is Reentry. It's an uncommon card. And what Reentry does is, after you use her ultimate, Toxic Time Bomb, if you're in stealth, it'll keep your stealth. So you'll go back into stealth after you use it. So no one will see you drop the bomb on the ground. You'll be stealth the entire time. And then when you place the bomb down, you'll get a percentage of your maximum health back. And so that allows you to run into a fight, pop the bomb down, enter stealth to exit the fight and heal herself a little bit. That kind of gets her health back from where she was running into it. And that allows her to be a little more aggressive with the bomb and less skittish, can kind of hide back and hope for the right chance or for them to come to you or deal damage. It's bomb time, which it was really more of like a 1v1 tool, right? Because you have to put it down when someone's fighting you and you hope that either they turn and run, you can kill them, or they stay and fight and the damage from the ultimate kills them as well. So
But
that's
now you're out of there.
Then you're out. Yeah, so the stealth will keep you in there. Or, remember, you have to be in stealth when you use it, so it kind of keeps you back into stealth. A couple other adjustments. We reduce the amount of movement speed you get from Wind Totem. This just means that people won't be wiggling around as much. We have reduced the cooldown amount that Rebound gives Grover. This way he won't be instant reset all of his abilities. He will reset them almost entirely. It's about 70% is the top
He's still
end.
scary, guys.
So he'll be able to reset those pretty quickly, but it won't mean he can kind of juggle with it entirely. We've also reduced the duration of Acid Cloud from 5 to 3 seconds. We'll be adjusting in the future patches if we need to, the damage on it, but we really just want to make sure there's not just a persistent effect hanging out in the world for too long and kind of denying that area, and really just more about damage than it is about anything else. And then, of course, we will be making an adjustment that wasn't really mentioned here, but we're actually going to make sure that each movement speed in the game, you can only have one occurrence of that. So if you get a movement speed burst from Nimble and then you have, let's say, Wind Totem, whichever one's bigger is the one you get. So you can't stack a whole bunch of movement speed from multiple sources and just turn into a rocket. So whichever one's the biggest, you'll get that one, and that will prevent you from just getting too much. So it's more about, if you have movement speed in one part of your deck building, then you may want to remove it from somewhere else if they happen at the same time. So that's just going to be an option for that. Looking at this, it looks to be about it. We made some adjustments to the UI in the main screen. That's really just to clean up some of the issues we had before and hope that really had some options there. But that basically does it
I think so.
for CB17. This is basically just a Kinessa patch, plus a lot of cleanups and obviously consolidation of the currencies and stuff like that. So we hope you enjoy it. Let's see if we have any questions. If you guys have any questions for us in chat, let us know.
I can't read anything.
Who cares about Nimble when you can respawn faster? Oh, yeah. It's a good card. It's a very good card. What's up with Garrett's glasses? He broke them and refuses to fix them.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten around to getting new ones, or I'm making
They're
going to
fuse to your face?
No, let me just...
And you'll never be able to remove them. Can you pull it off for a second and show the little, like, wound you're building for yourself?
No, I can't.
There's, like, a pink, like, dot where it's, like, digging into his brain.
It'll happen eventually. Don't
It's
worry
there. It's definitely there. Where is it, Droxus?
Who?
He's dead, actually.
Did he die?
I think Kinessa shot him.
Right in the face.
Yeah, I think he's dead.
Sorry, guys.
I guess you can't have him.
Maybe the next game.
Challenge match fix. We actually don't have that in this patch, but it is on our radar, and we're working on it currently. Can Pip get more cards than 10? Yes, we're actually looking to add a whole bunch of cards for Pip,
more for Pip,
Ruckus, Fernando, and Grover, who are our lowest card counts. And obviously, like I mentioned earlier, we want to make sure that the amount that Sky has is something we have for everyone, and we keep adding cards for everyone in the game as we add new champions as well. Are their crafting costs the exact same, but in gold? They're exactly the same with a conversion. So the values will look higher, but you'll get more gold throughout the match and get more gold from the duplicates. It's about a 10x conversion. So whatever value it was in crafting points, you can basically multiply that by about 10, and you'll get a similar value or the exact same value as you expect. So duplicates, you get duplicate legendary will be about 500 gold.
Yep.
Crafting one will be about 1,000. the weapon skins are still the same price times 10, so they'll be 10,000 gold to craft. And you obviously get 1,000 gold for every chest you buy, and then duplicates will get some out of that. So buying a chest with crystals, a radiant chest, will give you actually a pretty significant amount of gold per chest. And obviously, if you buy the founder's pack, if you haven't already, that will earn you 20,000 gold, which is
a lot of gold.
Sizable. That'll get you basically every card in the game. When we get more common decks to build, it's on our radar again, like many things, and we're looking to increase that amount or make that available. When is patch happening? It'll be happening later this week.
Soon.
What happens to champions chests you have? So we'll be basically kind of removing those from your inventory. Yeah. So you won't have, if you have champions chests now, it probably actually may be better not to open them now. But what we'll do is when the patch launches, we'll remove those from everybody's inventory, and then we'll be giving you a value equal to a rare duplicate. And so this kind of just give you guys the benefit of the doubt. So we're taking the chests away, since you could have gotten higher, but more likely you probably would have gotten a common or uncommon. We're going to give you the amount of gold it would have got if you had earned a duplicate rare, and that way you can use it to craft. So pretty on the generous side. So whatever you have, you'll definitely have about a rare from each one of them. About ranked, we are actually looking at ranked. We're working that right now, so we don't really have any time frame on that. I want to make sure we get it just right, but it is definitely something that's being worked on. Are you removing all cards and giving chests? No. The current cards you have will stay, but we will converting all crafter points into cards or into gold.
Yeah. Gold for everyone.
Dun, 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 dun. When will we see some champion skins? Hopefully very, 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 very soon. Don't quote me. We're hoping to have those in as soon as we possibly can. And it's looking to be very soon. Will ever get a daily login system? Yeah, so that kind of stuff, we'll be adding similar systems to that. We obviously set the first one of the day back to gold gain, so you can use that for whatever you want rather than getting a card out of it. And so that's something we're looking at. But we are looking at as many systems as we can as we come in the next few months. Now that we're kind of settling a little bit more on the basic gameplay of Paladins, we're going to start looking at getting some of those cool options, stuff like adding a training session or a shooting range, something like that, or we can test out characters, and obviously a whole bunch of systems allows you to really do some different things. But that will basically do it for CB17, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been a blast.
Kinessa's coming soon.
Dude, she's coming, and she's going to shoot people in the face.
She will, and it's going to hurt. She already shot Androxus, and she's not even out yet. Well, that'll do it, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and we'll check you in the realm.